So one of the people that I've kind of been watching the longest when it comes to Call of Duty content is Drifter, and he's been kind of in and out of the Call of Duty community as of recently, but with what has been going on lately, he recently put out a video, and it is titled, Call of Duty has lost half of its players. I'm gonna have to switch sides here, but I believe this is him just talking about what's going on, and I would love to hear his take as someone who's been around the Call of Duty community for a while, knows that certain games have ebbs and flows with the amount of players who are in and out of it, and I'm curious, who probably is someone who isn't just going to give a negative take with this. I'm curious what he has to say. So let's dive in and hear what Drifter has to say about this.
Here today, I've got an old school Call of Duty gameplay commentary for you where I talk about what's going wrong with Call of Duty. Because if you haven't noticed, the player base has declined roughly 50% over
in 1 month. Basically, it boomed up 50% and dropped that 50% within 1 month. It didn't retain any of the new players.
For the last 30 days, and that shows no sign of slowing down. I'm pulling these numbers from Steam charts, which, to be fair, doesn't show console numbers, but it does show trends, and the Call of Duty HQ is also all Call of Duty games. Black Ops 6 multiplayer all the way back to MW 2019 and Warzone, so the player base for all Call of Duty games for the last 5 years has dropped 50% in the last 30 days.
Which
and now
most of that is Black Ops 6.
Performing considerably worse than Modern Warfare 2 and similar to Modern Warfare 3, but trending worse. It's actually bleeding over into content as well. I've noticed that Teamfight Tactics of all games is outperforming Black Ops 6 multiplayer on Twitch pretty regularly.
So the one thing that's different with Twitch than Steam is Twitch separates Warzone and Black Ops 6 separately. So I don't know if he was combining both of those numbers, Warzone and Black Ops 6, to Teamfight Tactics. I don't know, but that's just one thing to know.
I've also generally noticed a decline in views on COD content across the board. Unless, of course, it's hate content, which I'll talk quite a lot about later in this video.
Ooh, interesting.
And we'll get into the reasons why, but the reality is a huge number of Call of Duty players have left for other games. There's just an exodus of players, mostly over to Marvel Rivals, which is what I've been playing quite a lot. And it's not like Delta Force is bad either, or Valorant, or any of these other legacy games like Siege. There's a lot of good choices out there. And COD players are quitting. So let's jump into why. I guess this is my Call of Duty is dying, the cycle is breaking, the January doom and gloom that is normal for this cycle of the game.
This is actually pretty common.
Warzone itself is in shambles. Swag was talking about quitting Warzone. Debatably the #1 Warzone streamer, entertainer, competitor, whatever you want to call him, doesn't want to play the game anymore. The update that came out this fall to add Area 99 was extremely unpopular. It brought back a whole bunch of old bugs from up to 18 months ago that have somewhat been fixed, but then they created new bugs. And even though I enjoyed Area 99 to some degree, I don't think the new map was received particularly well by the community. I haven't heard a lot.
My unpopular take on this is that new map doesn't necessarily mean new content, right? Like, yeah, you're going to enjoy it for like a week, but if the game isn't fresh in one way or another, or makes you want to play more in one way or another, it's very rare that I think a map would do that. Verdansk might for a little bit, but we'll see.
A lot of people really enjoying it in the long run. And I know that there's other issues like cheating and weapon balance and hackers and, you know, how we balance the competitive and the score and all that. But the real take home here is that the Warzone community is in shambles, and the Warzone community has been holding COD down for the last 5 years while regular multiplayer crumbled. And if Swag is talking about quitting his #1 bread and butter money-making game to play something else, it's gotta be bad. Speaking of famous people
mainly the
quitting,
hackers for him.
Nadeshot seemingly quit Call of Duty. He posted a video talking about why Call of Duty was forcing him to quit.
Also about hackers and servers.
Then, I've only seen Nadeshot stream Marvel Rivals. God bless him. He swapped from controller to mouse and keyboard and went all the way up to, I think, Master or Grandmaster, which is very impressive.
That is very impressive.
I guess that makes sense for like a, I don't know how many times, COD champion. But Nadeshot quit because he was upset that Call of Duty has extremely poor network performance, and he believes that Activision is too cheap to upgrade to higher tick rate servers or really do anything about it. Both him and Swag agree that the technical problems are what's holding Black Ops 6
It's
back.
one of them.
And I would have to agree with that because Exclusive Ace and I have basically made a career exploring Call of Duty's technical problems over the last decade or so. So I know that there's plenty of them. There's issues with skill matching, regular matching, friends this, there's visibility issues, graphical bugs, there's hacking bugs,
I just realized something listening to this. I literally just realized something. You know, there's a problem with this Call of Duty when skill-based matchmaking isn't the main issue everyone's talking about. I just realized this. No one's saying that, but that's a crazy thing, actually. Because over the past 5 years, every biggest complaint about the game has been skill-based matchmaking, and this year it's not that.
Servers are a total nightmare between the disconnect between the kill cam and what happened.
It's one of them, but
teleporting,
not the
shooting
one.
you around corners, weird lag and stuff. It from a technical level is very messy. The community at large seems unhappy with Black Ops 6 events and the Squid Game crossover.
Oh yeah, the events are brutal.
I thought people would be really hyped for the Squid Game crossover when Season 2 came out, but I've pretty much seen only negativity on social media. Maybe that's the people I'm following, maybe that's my bias, but I'm seeing more negativity
It's because of the paid for content, the premium pass, that kind of thing.
than positivity, which was kind of surprising. And most people are very negative about the community events either. I see people in the community say the events are boring, they're too difficult, or the unlocks are too silly.
This event would have been cool, and I think would have had a good response if they would have fixed the hacking, network issues, and then didn't have the premium pass. But because of all of that is in there, there was no focus on what the actual gameplay of the event was. None. No one cared. No one cared what the gameplay is if you can't play the game.
Not aesthetically pleasing for this serious Call of Duty game. And this kind of thing does tend to happen because all of this had to be done before probably December 15th.
Oh, well
Just from
before.
December 15th to about January 15th, everybody just kind of checks out, especially in the tech industry.
Most of the content we're playing
That's where
now
you
is
take your
probably
vacation.
done
That's
3
where you
months
take
ago.
your weeks off. The
If
devs are
not
at home
more.
spending time with their family like I chose to do instead of grinding videos all holiday long. And we're not really going to be getting any new big updates, at least for a little while. Hacking has gotten pretty outrageous, I would say supposedly, because everybody kind of has a different experience here. I play mostly on PC, so it has the same amount of hackers that it usually does, which is quite high. I mostly run into soft hacks. I don't see a lot of aimbots or invincibility or people flying, but I do see a lot of people with wall hacks where they can see me through walls and just track me and know.
The problem with this, we've talked about this. We've talked about this many times. The problem with these soft hacks is you see them once, twice. First time you see them, you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Second time you see them, you're like, okay, once again, a hacker. After that, everyone you see in game who's better than you or might be hacking is hacking. And that's the problem. As soon as there's one, there's many. It's like having mice in your house. If there's one mouse, there's so many mice, right? And then after you fix the mouse problem, Mises problems, moose problems, definitely not moose. Once you fix that, then every little squeak, every little crack, every little spill that you see on the ground, you're like, are they back? Are they here? And that is going to be, even if they fix the hackers, it's still going to be a problem for years and years to come.
Know that I'm coming. It's really hard to beat those people. It's very frustrating. And I've noticed that almost all of my friends that play on console have been choosing to disable crossplay as much as possible.
If I played on
because it
console, I would be.
minimizes cheaters. It doesn't get rid of them. There's still console cheaters out there, but it gets rid of a lot of them. So I think whatever Ricochet is supposed to be doing, it's absolutely not doing it right. And for those of you out there who are console gamers, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my sponsors and recommend the Logitech G A50 headsets, which is kind of a god tier headset.
I found it so weird that he called it Logitech because I used to use Astros back in the day when I needed the console mic, and it was just Astro. But now Logitech owns anyway.
Set for consoles, it allows you to play Switch, Xbox, PlayStation 5, and PC all at once from a little base station and a convenient switch that gets set up wherever you're gaming. You'll find a link to this product down there below, along with code Drifter, which
They make
will
good
save you
headsets.
5% off. Thank you again,
My favorite headset that I've ever used doesn't exist anymore. Trident headset way back in the day. If you were a gamer a long time ago, you know. After that, I pretty much used Astro for like 10 years. And then after that, I went to these, which are like the Bear Dynamic. But those are great headsets, especially if you're on consoles.
These headsets. And in case you don't like wired, you can always go with the old school pink A40s that you see me wearing in tons
think
and
that's what
tons
I
of
use.
videos. They're so
A40s.
broadly compatible with everything. Links down there below. Let's get back to the main video. And then finally, the last reason for the decline, and a non-insignificant one, is that skill-based matchmaking and skill-based damage, religious movements are in full swing. Everybody seems to be very upset about skill-based matchmaking still, even though it's a very old topic that's pretty well explored. And to mention Ace again, my god, this video is mostly updates on other creators. Ace recently discovered that you can export your skill ranking data because Activision
I haven't done that yet. I need to do that.
With EU regulations, and you have to be able to see that for privacy reasons. So it kind of collects all the data about you. However, after his video where he showed people how to request their skill data, I don't know of a single person that actually got their data request after that video came out. So either the servers are completely spammed with hundreds of thousands, or perhaps millions of people requesting their skill data, and it just can't keep up. Or maybe Activision just decided to kind of nip this one in the bud and shut...
Technically, that would be illegal if they were doing that, wouldn't it?
That feature down. It would not surprise me if that feature comes back up with all of your private information except the skill information at some point in the near future. Another Ace story.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
Hopped in on Twitter today. I don't really use what's left of Twitter or X very much. I'm a little bit more on Blue Sky these days, but I decided to open it. First tweet it shows me is unfortunately exclusive Ace arguing with people about skill-based damage. And it was nearly identical to the conversations that I've had over the last decade, that somebody would show a clip and say it's proof, and Ace would be like, a clip is not proof. You have to test for this in a controlled environment, but you can't do it in a live environment because there's too many variables.
Ace is such a wholesome guy, and him arguing with anyone is so rare. It's just like, if someone believes in skill-based damage, it's like someone who believes in flat Earth, right? There's no convincing them that it's not a thing, even though it is the easiest thing to test for. And here's the crazy part. Is I have been dumping all over Call of Duty. Like, I've been talking crap about this game for almost a month now at this point. Every video. Go look in the comments right now. Go look in the comments right now. There'll be at least 3 comments calling me a shill. I guarantee it. Because I say that skill-based, something that is very clearly not real, is not real. People just believe it. People are going to believe things. And yeah, skill-based damage is not real. It's easy to test for and very clear to see that it's not there. Now, lag connection problems with damage is a thing. With hit markers is a thing. But skill-based damage, not a thing. I'll get called a shill now. Thank you for ruining my comment section again there, Drifter.
Thanks. Science doesn't work this way, and this is difficult. More difficult. Easier said than done might be the right phrase to explain this. The community, of course, didn't care about any of those reasonable, rational, scientific explanations, and just kind of laid into him for being a shill and covering for Activision, which I get quite a lot. God bless Ace, though. He handles it with more grace than I ever did in the past. But I think the true, genuine obsession over skill-based matchmaking is taking on a religious nature. I genuinely believe that hate content, hate watching, and belief in skill-based matchmaking and what's going to happen when Activision is finally exposed or whatever is a sort of religion. If you think about the people that report it, they go out to proselytize, to convert you to their beliefs, primarily on comments and forums and social media and stuff. They crusade for the removal of skill-based matchmaking, to advocate for all sorts of products and methods to get rid of it. They have their own unique prophecies, such that when Activision is exposed, or when this happens, or when the community revolts,
it's never going to get rid of it.
Get together, or whenever X thing happens that hurts Activision, then and only then will Call of Duty return to the golden promised land of, I don't know, 2014, whenever it was good, whatever your favorite COD is, that's where it'll turn, and all the players will receive salvation and their lives will be better. There's all sorts of people arguing about the morality of two-boxing and cheating and avoiding skill-based matchmaking to the point where it feels like theological arguments. And because of all of that sentiment, Call of Duty hate channels are making bank right now, probably doing better than regular Call of Duty channels.
100%. I think probably the best Call of Duty channels right now, money making wise, are Blame Truth and probably Nero. I've noticed a lot of other content creators kind of switch their content or titles to go to that, and I stopped doing that on my main channel because I was just sick of every day something else coming out, me dumping all over it. It just didn't feel good, and not what I did. Now we still keep the kind of what do you call it, feelings. I keep my feelings on this channel and say how I feel about the game over here. But we're also doing a bunch of things about other games in the gaming community and everything like that over here as well. So it's not just swarmed with the negativity of Call of Duty over here. So I'm trying to do the best of both worlds, but sometimes I get yelled at for that.
But that's not really a style of content that I'm particularly interested in. I would say that I try to be positive and I try to make positive content here, and that's true most of the time. But some of the more spicy topics I've taken on recently are not particularly positive, but they are important in more ways to your life than, say, Call of Duty. I've mostly just been playing a lot more Marvel Rivals, very slowly. I've had a busy holiday. I've actually been to the gun range.
We need to do that more.
Times, so some of those videos will come soon. But I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. And in general, with my disabilities and weak hands, I can only play games when they first come out because the playing field is...
Your hands are weak, but you can shoot guns? Am I crazy?
More even. A lot of people are new, just like me. We're going in with limited experience, but as the game continues on, people gain more experience than I can ever hope to because of disabilities and playtime limitations, so they kind of outclass me. And a lot of games have a grind element to them. You have to grind. I don't grind for anything. J-Hub helps me level my account and get weapon attachments and stuff like that. But Call of Duty has been very grind heavy for a number of years now, and Black Ops 6 has swapped over to full grind mode with new weapons, new unlocks, battle passes, events, all these things you're supposed to do. And I find myself more interested in experimental content as opposed to grinding Call of Duty down to the minutiae like I've done for the last 15 years.
So if you've actually watched my content on the main channel, generally like the launch comes out, we talk about the grinding stuff, and then I move on to more of like my story and stuff like that. This year we're going deep into like the highly edited stuff, and it's going to change a lot over the next little while. But yeah.
Last year we've done content on science, tech, politics, philosophy.
Drifter has
health,
done a bunch of crazy stuff.
Opinion pieces, firearms content, manga reviews, movie reviews. Been filming more IRL stuff and less stuff in game as well. So instead of converting to a Call of Duty hate channel and making a new video about somebody being exposed or cheating or taking down Activision or this is the end or whatever any sort of clickbait thumbnail there would be, I'm just gonna go play more Marvel Rivals, and I'm gonna focus on filming some different stuff IRL. I'm going to play Call of Duty and post Call of Duty content exactly as much as I want to, which will...
Yeah, see, that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm switching the focus of what my content is to something I enjoy more.
Still
Call of Duty, but in a different way.
I can, but probably not a lot for the time being. I just have other things to focus on. So the TLDR is, COD's got a lot of problems. The player base is dipping. A lot of people are mad.
So I'm curious, because I think eventually at least the hacker problem is going to get fixed. It has to. I'm curious what the player numbers do at that point. I'm curious if they keep going down. It's going to be something that I follow for a while. And speaking of player numbers, you're going to want to go check out the main channel because I have something big coming there. I don't know if it's out already when this video comes out. I think this video will come out first, and I think tomorrow it'll come out on the main channel. Somewhere around there. Depends when all the editing on the video gets done. But there's going to be something you want to see over there. And it is about numbers. Lots of numbers. But yeah, Drifter's always fantastic. Go check out his channel, and I hope you guys enjoyed.